Welcome in the name of Christ. God's grace, love, and peace surround you. Welcome to our service of worship and reflection for Sunday, October the 10th, 2021. We welcome you as our friends and our visitors and as the beloved children of God. And from all of us here at Westside United Church in Pence, we wish to extend to you, your family, your loved ones, your circle of family and friends that are surrounding you, both locally and anywhere where they are, a wonderful, joyous, and a happy Thanksgiving. Each Sunday, we'll be gathering here for worship in our sanctuary at 10:30 a.m. Now, if you would like to join us, please give me a call or send me a message to reserve your spot. We are gradually getting our feet comfortable with the path we are walking during these still uncertain days. But we continue to be vigilant with our care and our concern for ourselves and others in our community. And whether you're joining us for worship in sanctuary or through our online services of worship, we thank you for joining us again this week for our time of worship and reflection. Wherever you are, in your home, at work, here in the sanctuary, or enjoying a quiet space of nurture and reflection, we wish to unite our hearts together and our spirits into one unified, sacred, and community who's gathered for worship. So the spirit that is within me greets the spirit that is in you. As we gather in this space and upon this land, we recognize that we inhabit the ancestral land of the Mi'kmaq people. With respect and gratitude, we are honored to worship, celebrate, and live on their sacred and traditional land. As the people of God and the followers of Jesus, let us be the people of love, truth, and reconciliation. As we prepare ourselves to move into this time of worship and reflection today, I invite us to take a moment of silence to center ourselves, to open our ears to hear, our eyes to see, and our hearts to embrace the presence of the Spirit of God among us. Flaming leaves of autumn are the fire of God's Spirit. The bounty of the fields is the fullness of God's love. Let us share with the world the blessings of this land, for there is no thanks without giving. As God gives to us, let us give to others, and let us worship God. I invite us to join our hearts together in prayer. Sacred presence, dazzling Creator, we give thanks that you have gathered us here today. We give thanks that you welcome us with our fears and our dreams, and embrace us with your healing love. Open our ears that we may hear your truth. Open our mouth, that we may speak your truth. Open our hands, that we might do your will. For we long to be your people through our words and deeds. And with our hearts, may we always be filled with joy and praise, gratitude and thanksgiving. The scripture reading that I'd like to share with you today comes to us from the prophet Joel. Now, Joel was one of the many prophets that are chronicled within our scriptures of the people who God called and who God chose to bring forward a message from God, to remind the people not only of God's presence, but to carry forward a message that enabled the people to stand in awe, to reflect and wonder with amazement at the wonderful things that God was doing. And sometimes the messages were not always well received. And sometimes they were received but left them pondering. The words that we hear from Prophet Joel today invite us into that same realm as the early people of God, the people of Israel. May we hear these words with a sense of awe, wonder, amazement, and reflection. I'm sharing with you from Joel chapter 2, from the 21st to the 27th chapter. Do not fear, O soil. Be glad and rejoice, for God has done great things. Do not fear, you animals of the field, for the pastures of the wilderness are green. The tree bears its fruit. The fig tree and vine give their full yield. O children of Zion, be glad and rejoice in your God, for the early rain has been given for your vindication. God has poured down for you abundant rain, the early and the later rain, as before. The threshing floors shall be full of grain. The vats shall overflow with wine and oil. I will repay you for the years of the swarming locust has eaten, the hopper, the destroyer, and the cutter, my great army, which I sent against you. You shall eat in plenty and be satisfied, and praise the name of God, who has dealt wondrously with you. And my people shall never again be put to shame. You shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, and that I am your God, and there is no other. And my people shall never again be put to shame. May these ancient words, as chronicled in the book of the prophet Joel, continue to inspire us as they inspired the people of God in ancient days. And may we have ears to hear and hearts to respond. Amen. So here it is, Thanksgiving 2021. We've made it through 10 months of this year already. It's just amazing where the time has gone. When we start out in the year in January, the end of the year does look like it's going to be a long ways away. And then 1 week turns into another, becomes months, and the seasons continue to turn, from winter to spring to summer to fall. And now we're a portion of the way through the season of autumn, and winter is sometime coming soon. What a joyful time of year this is. A joyful time to see the transitions of creation surrounding us, and the ways in which the trees that were bare earlier this year were transformed when the leaves burst forth. And now those leaves are beginning to flutter from the shades of green to various shades of the season of autumn. This time of year gives us moments for pausing, moments of reflection, moments to focus in on those things for which we are grateful. Some of you may be photographers, those who like to capture moments of time in a still photograph that displays some wonderful event or an amazing piece and portion of God's creation. Philip is one of these people who really enjoys taking photographs. And I'm always amazed at the way in which he can capture something that all of us may be able to see, but a gifted photographer focuses in on something and sees something that maybe not all of us can see. Sometimes the ways in which he takes his pictures captures a certain detail of a flower. Sometimes what's in the foreground is clear, but what's behind is out of focus. And sometimes the reverse is the same. This season, like a good photographer, focuses in on something that captures a moment and inspires us with awe and wonder. This season, the season that we're in this month of October, here in the Northern Hemisphere, which we call Thanksgiving, focuses us in on that moment to recall and give thanks for the blessings that are surrounding us. Today we've created a wonderful display here within the center of our time of worship to remind us about the abundant ways in which what's part of our everyday life is something for which we could be thankful for. The array of colors that is not only in creation, but surrounds us and reminds us of the multitude of ways in which God surprises us on our journeys. This past week, Philip and I took a couple of days to drive in some portions of the province that we hadn't been to in a long while. And we left, leaving home, hoping to find some of those spectacular arrays of colors, of the autumn colors, of the maple leaves and the other leaves that are turning. And we drove through some backwoods and some back areas and along the seacoast, and we were amazed at the wonder and the joy of the variety of landscapes and sights that the province of Nova Scotia offers to us. And we drove probably about 700, almost 800 kilometers. But the most spectacular colors that we saw were the ones that were within a few minutes of our very own home. But still, even though it was close to home when we saw those spectacular colors of the oranges and the reds and the yellows, we gave thanks for the wonderful diversity and beauty of our province in this season of autumn. We're also thankful for the ways in which the multitude of our gardens and the produce that is provided within our area has given us an opportunity to create some things from the fruit on the vine, from the trees, and from the ground, that they can be transformed into pickles and preserves and jams that are not only enjoyed right now, but can be enjoyed in the months to come. To remind us about the blessings of the place that we live in, the soil that we nurture, and the crops that we grow. Years ago, one ministry friend of mine told me that an elderly farmer told her one time that when creating a Thanksgiving Sunday service, there are two essential items. And those two items is water and soil. From all the blessings that surround us in creation, all the joy of the fruits and the vegetables that we enjoy to nourish our bodies each and every day are dependent upon soil and water. The field, the animals of the field, the birds of the air, the fish of the sea, depend on those element items of water and soil to provide them with nourishment. Just like us, we are dependent on those two things. When we gather for this Thanksgiving Sunday, if there's nothing else that we can think about that we're thankful for, we give thanks for the soil beneath our feet and the water that comes from the skies or comes from the earth, that nourishes and supplies us with all of our needs. Thanksgiving Sunday is not only an opportunity for us to focus in on those things that are thankful for, not the big things of life, those wonderful things that make us astounded, but those simple, everyday things, those simple activities, those everyday events, the people surrounding us. Each and every day there is something for which we can be thankful for. Whether it's a sight, a sound, a taste, a smell, an embrace. What are you thankful for? On this Thanksgiving Sunday, what will you be giving thanks for? If you are on our Facebook page, I invite you to write a comment below of what you are thankful for. When we gather for worship here on October the 10th, in our time of worship here in the sanctuary, I will be inviting for responses from around the room to be thrown out to us, to be voiced from our hearts and from our lives, the multitude of things in which we are thankful for. And together we will gather them up and we will lift them up to God in grateful thanks and gratitude for the blessings which have been given to us. Give thanks for the blessings of God in our midst. For God and the blessings that God gives us makes our season of Thanksgiving, this day of Thanksgiving, a truly profounding and profoundful time of worship and celebration. The prophet Joel, when he shared that message with the people from his lesson today, he gave thanks first and reminded the soil of the blessings. Joel also gave thanks to the animals and for the trees that gave them nourishment and the rains that came from the heavens. And then the people were the third thing that he gave thanks for. To remind the whole of creation, from everything that's beneath our feet, over our head, around us and surrounding us, is a way for us to be mindful of God's presence in our midst, in the multitude of ways in which God blesses us. Our Thanksgiving display here today is a portion of all of what we are thankful for. And when we multiply them together with all the things that everyone else is thankful for, then we can really, truly raise our voices to give thanks and praise to God for the blessings of life. And we don't even limit it to our Thanksgiving Sunday, but we're to be mindful of being thankful to God with gratitude and appreciation each and every day. As we focus, like a good photographer, on what's important in a picture, as we focus our hearts on Thanksgiving, I would like to offer into your heart these words from Psalm 100. Make a joyful noise, all the earth. Worship your God with gladness. Come before God with laughter, to the Maker for whom we belong. Come into God's gate and presence with thanks. Come into God's courts with praise. Praise and bless God's name, saying, truly you are God. You are always gracious and faithful, age after age. Let us join together in prayer. Amazing God, we thank you for all the little ways that you speak to us. We thank you for all small, humble creatures who fulfill their place in the world and reveal the wonder and mystery of creation in their tiny beings. We thank you for small gestures of courtesy and kindness, for people who hold open doors and let us into traffic, or simply smile at us on the street. We thank you for sparrow songs and leaves that flutter and bless us with their autumn splendor, and the sights and the sounds that nourish our spirits and the whole of our being. Creator God, you have painted our fall picture in colors of gold and bronze and shades of red. The glory of autumn enriches our sight and delights our spirits. You have given us vegetables and fruits and bins of grain, a harvest of abundance for our nourishment, and the sustaining nourishment for many of our beautiful creatures. In this season of Thanksgiving, we open our hearts and our minds to discover all those things which fill us with gratitude. In the midst of challenge and stress, uncertainty and concern, we as people of faith are inspired to still search for those pieces of our lives for which we are grateful. Not only those grand moments in our lives, but even the smallest of gestures, the everyday occurrences that reveal to us blessings in our lives. Turning on a tap and enjoying a tumbler of water. Seeing a majestic sunset after a long day. Hearing the sound of birds. The warmth of a mug of tea or coffee cupped in our hands. The aromas of fresh baked goods, or a meal being prepared, or a pot of pickles being prepared for bottling to enjoy later in the year. From the smallest of gestures to the most extreme blessings that has been poured into our lives, we offer praise and thanks to you, and to the avenue and the person through whom the blessings was shared. Each of us have our own list of gratitude and thanks that fill our hearts, and we share them with you, O God, in the midst of sacred silence. Among our prayers of thanks, we also bring prayers of concern for ourselves, our loved ones, our community, and for people and places around the whole of your creation. We lift from our hearts and our minds the prayers of our lives and offer them, O God, into your tender care within a time of sacred silence. heartbeat. And with each breath, we offer our prayers, trusting in your presence among and within us on every step we take and every journey we enjoy. We offer our prayers with trust and confidence, and with the assurance that we are never alone. We offer them to you in the name of Jesus, the one who inspires us to pray with hearts and voices united to you, O God, the giver of blessings, our source of love, our Creator, our Mother, our Father, who art in heaven. Hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come. Your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For yours is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. So the table before us is a symbol of a portion of our celebration of Thanksgiving. But your table, your heart, your mind, and your lives are a personal witness of your blessings and thanksgiving. May your table, your heart, your mind, and your life be filled with gratitude and thanks this day and every day. Let us take a time of sacred silence to call to mind the many things for which we are thankful, for as we prepare to move from our time of worship and into the world filled with our gratitude and thanks. In the season of winter, we look longingly at our gardens, dreaming of what lies waiting to emerge. In the season of spring, we eagerly till the soil and sow seeds or coax budding plants to grow. In the season of summer, we nurture plants to bear fruits and blossoms to nourish our bodies and our spirits. In the season of autumn, we savor the fruits of our labors and give thanks to God for the bounty we have gathered. Throughout the seasons, we become one with creation and one with the Creator. As we celebrate each and every season, may the blessings we enjoy be a constant reminder of the abundance surrounding us, and that we are called to be a source of abundance of blessings to others. Let us go forward and be people of thanks and a people of giving.